Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy.
I was an idiot. There's no two ways about that. There is practice tomorrow. I'm going to wear shorts to that. And that's just going to
Just wear shorts, Hunt.
That's what's going to happen. All right. Let's talk a little bit of Saints here before we get to Michael Cauble, who was in shorts today at LSU football practice in about 10 minutes. Dennis Allen was with the media over the weekend and talked about what he's seeing, whether or not he's seeing what he wants from this offense in year one under new offensive coordinator Klint Kubiak.
I think we're doing some good things. I think it's still a work in progress. I don't think it's anywhere near what we want it to be. And yet we're 8 practices into a training camp, in a new scheme, new system, got some new pieces in there. And we're not gonna worry about, what the end result is yet. We're just gonna worry about the process and how we continue to get better every day. And, down there in the red area, I thought there were some plays where I thought the defense got the better end of it. And then there was a few plays where I thought the offense got the better end of it. And so that's the back and forth you want to see.
Yeah, I think that's the positive there. If you see both sides getting their fair share of wins, I feel like that's a very comfortable thing. And that's kind of goes back, if we're going to talk LSU and Saints intertwined here, like that's the issue I have with watching LSU's practice. It just feels a little bit more one-sided, and that gives you the heebie-jeebies based on last year. It sounds like things have been a little bit more what with the Saints offense and defense out in California. One of the guys that I thought was a very interesting story entering this training camp, and I don't know that he's been a very big story in the camp, is Dallin Holker, the undrafted free agent signee from Colorado State who has come in as a tight end. And a lot of times you'll get an undrafted player in that's 21, 22 years old. That's not the case with Holker because he's had a mission and he's in his mid to late 20s at this point. And you feel like that could be a guy ready to come in and give a more traditional tight end look than certainly Taysom Hill and maybe even to an extent Juwan Johnson, who is kind of built a little bit more like a wide receiver and is not quite as tall and rangy as some of the tight ends that you see in the NFL. I thought he had a real good chance to make the team and still do, but we haven't talked about him a lot, and Dennis Allen did speak to what he's seen from the rookie undrafted free agent.
I think he's probably a little further along as a receiving tight end than he is as a blocking tight end. And so I'd say that's an area that he's got to continue to work on and improve. What I do see and feel is, kind of a smart, savvy football player that, although he may not have an elite skill set necessarily, he's got football awareness and football intelligence, and that allows him to find soft spots and zones and things of that nature. He's really good when the picture changes. So for a young guy, to be advanced in that way from a football intelligence standpoint, I think is pretty impressive.
And I think that goes into the age where you've just been around a little longer. Not that he's been in the NFL, but he's just an older, more mature guy. He should be able to take whatever the Saints are throwing at him as far as scheme and what his responsibilities and assignments may be. So I think that's encouraging from Dallin Holker. Obviously, you have to work on the blocking aspect, but when you look at him as a prospect, it's a pass catcher first is what you're looking at. Speaking of pass catchers, the Saints are always kind of looking around for guys that can improve themselves there, and they signed 2 familiar names over the weekend, not familiar in the same way, one because he's been with the Saints previously, and the other because his brother's really good. They signed Marquez Callaway and Puka Nakua's brother, 2 guys that they brought into training camp, and Dennis Allen spoke to those 2 additions.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that went into it was we're kind of nicked up at the position. I think probably as much as anything, it was about let's get some more legs in here and see what these guys can do. I mean, obviously we've had Callaway, so I think we have an understanding of the type of player he is, and yet there's how does he fit into this scheme? And then Nakua's a bigger, kind of more physical type receiver. Look, a couple of plays caught my eye in terms of just blocking today. So yeah, I think that's kind of what we're looking at.
They're trying to figure out number 3, 4, 5 wide receiver. And depending on how many you keep on the roster, whatever, but you're looking at whatever the case may be behind Olave and then obviously Shaheed. And you've got a number of guys working there. You've got some veterans. You've got some younger players. You've got some smaller slot guys. You've got some guys who are bigger frames. And it just depends on kind of what you're prioritizing at that spot. We've seen a lot of Marquez Callaway over the last 5 years following the Saints. And he's pretty big body. He's had some nice moments in camp and in preseason. Has he been an impactful player in the regular season for New Orleans? Not really. And then Nakua, I think, is just a more physical presence. He's in the same mold as a little bit of Equinemius St. Brown, and not necessarily in the mold of Tipton, who is a smaller guy with great speed. There's a mix of skill sets the Saints have brought in into this camp and are looking at what they want to do. And it's not something that's going to be – it's not going to be a thing that's going to drastically impact wins and losses here. You're talking about the 4th and 5th receiver who can give you some special team snaps and what that depth chart looks like. The guys who catch the lion's share of the passes on this Saints team are going to be Olave, going to be Shaheed, going to be some of Taysom Hill, some of Jawan Johnson, and then, of course, Kamara. Like, that's the vast majority of your receiving yards and catches on this team. They're just looking for some supplementary pieces and what may work best. Would I think that Marquez Callaway and Nakua have a great chance to make this roster? No. Do I think it's going to hurt bringing them in here early in camp? No. I think it's just fine. So that's kind of a look at wide receiver. Then some news here is Jake Haener, we understand, is dealing with the rare form of skin cancer. And Dennis Allen spoke to the procedure that is going to take place today for him.
I think there's going to be a procedure that's going to take place Monday. And so I think my anticipation as we sit here today would be that he'll probably miss practice on Monday. We have an off day on Tuesday, and I expect him to be back full go on Wednesday.
So that's great news. Obviously, you hear the word cancer, and immediately your antennas go up, and you fear serious things. And certainly, you don't want to diminish the severity of this or the significance of the skin cancer, but it sounds like, based on what Jake Haener is saying, that they identified it. It's pretty rare. They can do a procedure to remove it, and he can be back playing football pretty quickly, and that's fantastic news once you've got that initial diagnosis. And Jake Haener's right there in the middle of a huge battle with Spencer Rattler, and it sounds like there's been a lot of good from both guys. You're not looking for either one of these guys to be your starting quarterback in a Pro Bowl, or you're just looking for those guys to battle, to put some good reps out there, and to be a capable backup quarterback should Derek Carr miss a little bit of time like he did early in last season. And so Allen spoke to Haener's day over the weekend.
I thought he had a good day today. I really did. I thought there were some good things that I saw out of him, some good throws. You know, sometimes from my perspective, as I'm watching the defense and then I'm watching the offense, and I just want to make sure, you know, sometimes you see some of these plays and, man, they look like really good plays on the outside looking in. And yet what I want to know is, are we going through our progressions? Are we taking what's given to us? Because I think that over the course of time, that's what's going to allow you to be successful consistently. I saw some touchdown passes I saw in the last period, and I throw across the middle, you know, so there were certainly some things that caught my eye in practice in a positive way in terms of the way he operated.
You know what I hope? I hope Jake Haener is so awesome. I hope he's phenomenal. I hope Michael Penix is incredible. Why do I bring those two guys up? One played at Washington, one played at Fresno State. You may be catching on here. Those have been Kalen DeBoer's quarterbacks the last few years. And I hope those two guys are propping him up and he's not nearly as good. And when those two guys aren't there, he stinks at Alabama. That's really what I want to get to here. Hopefully, Jake Haener's a superstar, Michael Penix is a superstar, and that means Kalen DeBoer just got lucky because he got two really good quarterbacks, and now he's going to stink in Tuscaloosa. Are the odds good there? Probably not great, but I'm hoping. I'm dreaming. Allow me to dream, Beck. Dare to dream.
You're not. I didn't take you for much of a dreamer, Hunt.
I don't even know what that means.
You're just so negative about the Cubs.
Well, they sucked. They're in last.
They won 3 of 4 against the Cardinals.
Awful team. Terrible team.
6 games out of the wild card.
Awful.
50 games left.
Traded their best reliever.
Got some prospects.
Let's talk to Caldwell next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
Audio Video Security Solutions, avssla.com is the website. Football season.
Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.